Hello there and welcome. My name is Kate in the Nest, and as always, I hope you can hear the thrill in my voice. Never been more happy to come on because today has been a very, very special day. So, today I'm going to share my 2026 diary cover, which is virtually there, just needs to have some final touches. So, I don't know how many parts I've done, but here she is. She's thick and she's bulky and she's beautiful. And I just want to, um, share that process with you as well as some other exciting news. But before we go any further, I hope you are well, whatever you're doing. I've just been listening to some American TV and I can see it's Thanksgiving time over there. So happy Thanksgiving for those of us in Australia, just happy. We feel like we're in the holiday season, don't we? Christmas parties are starting and there's that expectation hanging in the air that summer holidays are just around the corner. So welcome to this little celebration of the year ahead. I've never been more excited. Well, see, I'm making these big statements, but that's coming from happiness. So I wanted to share that my first box of treasures has arrived today from India. And I cannot tell you what that felt like. My husband happened to be home and he answered the knock on the door, and there was a man literally with a trolley and a big box. Phil didn't know what it was. I knew it was coming, but he didn't expect it then. Anyway, I'm wearing, it's not ironed yet, a shirt that I got made while I was over there. It's out of a sari and it's crunkled because I tried it on and then stuffed it into a bag. But I'm going to embellish this, and there'll be lots of stories to tell, but the workmanship, my piece was not lined and they just lined this. So that came today, as well as this little treasure tin box. It's actually wooden, that I'd forgotten that I had bought on a whim. And at the time I just saw that little handle on the top and loved it to bits and pieces, not realizing that it's hinged. Look at this. And it opens. Oh. And inside it's perfect for treasures. So in preparation for today's stitching, I've got the cotton and I've got one pin, which is very precious, because even since yesterday I have misplaced the big round thing of pins that I got in my new vintage sewing basket. So they're just going to stay in there for a minute, and let's put the needle in there as well and get back on to my journal cover. So I have in the end decided to make this a removable cover. So this is the 1950s bed jacket, quilted satin in this beautiful pink, and I folded her over. So that's a flap I didn't cut. That was the sleeve. Yeah, this was the open sleeve. Here's the original. Oh, can you see this? This is the, oh, it is a bit. I might have to take you down. This is, yeah, because it's so big a scale. This is the original blanket. I wonder if you could see my cuffs in, but now you can see them. So that's tucked there. And on the front, I have similarly done the same. This is the original blanket, and I've made just a casing. And in here, I didn't even realize these were here. These are some pictures that I have printed off from things that I saw in India. So that will be for another time. But what I do love is that the flowers are extending around the spine, and there's a story to be told. I've added the Liberty scrap frill there. I put that cup on, and I have used a little bit of the Indian fabric, this cotton here, as well as that was vintage. And there's lots and lots of stories to be told in here. So we're going to take her off. Oh, before we take her off, things I've got in mind. If you've been watching this series, I had in mind that I wanted to keep the elastic, which is here. But to use it, I'd have to cut a hole through here. The black, I've got an idea. If I want to do that, this beading has just arrived from India. So it could, and it's in a dusty pink. And that, oh, see, I love talking to you because it helps me make the mind up. That would look beautiful over the front of my diary. Because alternatively, I had this because I was going to use it as a wraparound and tie it. But if I could have that popping out, it would, and stitch that to the black, that would be much more beautiful. So there would be a line of that down there, which I think could be very beautiful. Maybe I get this out of it. How do I get? She's big. She's A4 and beautiful. And she's rubbing up against her, but that's not going to matter because I'm going to stitch in a minute. All right, so there's that. The other thing, I had to do a special video for Kiki just to show her that this has arrived, and I know you people will get as much pleasure as I, but I know that Kiki in particular would ooh and ah. So look at this, for braid with a fringe. You can't get the beauty because I'm dangling it and it stops it being seen, but that would get tangled if I used it as a tie, but maybe some sort of adornment has to happen. Maybe up there and around. Just absolutely love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take the cover off. Let's go from the back. I have been stitching some bits on it while it's on, but it is easier. So there's the bit. And if you're interested in what journal this is, that's what it is. It's a diary, Kate. It's a diary. Remember, that's a Natalie Latte sticker that I had on to keep me going. So here is the raw material of my journal cover. Started off with this, which started off with that embroidery in the beige. Then I extended the pink bed jacket and left, I don't need blanket under there. That's the stitching, keeping that bit whole. So I've got the beginnings of a flower here to embellish and embroider. And so you can see the sort of story, that's the spine there. And I suppose my message is, it's just so random and turns out in this crazy way that it's just joyful. There's the holy cow. That I want to put something from every country, maybe that I've already visited. I don't know. I've got so many things. I will use this cotton. I hope you're stitching along. Have a cuppa. I hope my excitement is infectious. A few people have said that. Speaking of braids, maybe that's the story that has to be written there. So without cutting this beautiful piece, let's join. See how I've got the end of the flower there? Am I in the middle? Maybe as I stitch I can come back up. This time last week I was on the plane heading home. So tomorrow it will be a week. And what a one fun week it has been. And to have a package arrive so quickly at my door, like I am in shocked joy. And one can only be grateful for things like that happen, especially when you're not expecting them to come so soon. I've got this, you may remember, is the vintage kimono that I picked up in New Zealand, and I would love to have a little piece of that somewhere because it's so delicate. But for the moment, let's put this bit of braid on. Now, I was going to say, where are my needles and pins, but they're in here. Now that might be, maybe this would work for me as a needle keeper. And this, you know how many containers I have. That's why I've got to share them. So I will make a special video, and I keep saying this, but I have to. I bought way too much stuff for me. I have fabrics and trims, and I bought them for my workshops. Expressions of interest people, you will be hearing very, very soon from me. So expect an email. And newsletter people, 1st of December, for those in Australia, you will get the next newsletter with lots of details and booking opportunities for expressions of interest, followed by newsletter. Not expression, yeah. Do you know what I'm trying to say? We're going to start because I know everyone's spending their money with Thanksgiving and Black Friday and all the sales and buying Christmas presents. So I totally understand that, but I don't want you to get a shock and feel left out behind. So just a note about that. Some places I haven't confirmed the venue, very few of them, but in the latter half of 2026. So I know where they will be in the suburb, etc. So I will get in touch, obviously closer to the bit with the exact address, but I think you'll know enough that you can get yourself there. So I'm doing big joining stitches with this braid, and then we're going to turn it into thread painting on this beautiful flower. Kiki was saying, sorry that came out, Kiki, she is in Wisconsin, and she was just saying that they're expecting their first blizzard tonight. They haven't had snow, but which apparently is unusual at this time. And I've forgotten what depth she said, but it sounded like quite a lot. So I'm hoping everyone is snug and warm. Here in Australia, it's, well, I was going to say it's not even crazy. It's just hot and windy, and haven't had a first swim yet, but it won't be far away for me. So I'm just thread painting this darker bit of the flower, and it doesn't matter to me that the wool is coming out light. Because I'm not going to do the whole flower. It's a textural interest. There we go. That looks bad, but I'm going to go in over the top of that. All right, so the trim is sort of reasonably in place. So let's just tuck that around there for the moment. And let's come back to the front. A lady at the green door was asking me yesterday about how I had made decisions, and I said, look, I started out lacking confidence, but now I am growing from the original maker's works. This is a different piece, this is modern, and it is very much an eclectic mix. And that here I enjoy the French knots and then growing this circle out. So I feel that we could be embellishing in here. Let's get a bit of this beautiful deep. Is that the same one as I was using? It could be. I haven't got a lot of my cottons out. I've got this one, I've got the yellow. I'll probably put the yellow down here. So let's do some yellow. So what I'm thinking about doing is bringing the yellow, well, now because it's too layered, just have to be aware of that. So let's bring the yellow up, and what would we like to do with it, Kate? Let's go down in here. Yep, I'm right. I'm going to just sort of outline these petals, which are beautiful satin stitch in themselves. Come up at the top here, down to here, so random. So the stitching was originally beautiful, and I am highlighting it, but in a way that, will I say, modernizes it? Not that it needs it. Kateizes it. Kateifies it. Oh, I undid my own stitch. I've seen other people do that, but I don't do that very much. Oh, goodness. Sometimes that just happens, the wool. I should have done a before and after, but you can sort of see how this bit of yellow is lifting it and it's variegated. And I'd do more stitches if I wasn't getting knotted up all the time. But the feeling of this in my fingers is just delightful. I have had some requests about online classes, and I probably just should say at this point, I'm not planning that. You know, I feel that this Insta is, I hope, filling that niche, and there is much about my work, I think, and my particular resources that needs to be felt in the hand. People often say, oh my gosh, I liked it on screen and now I felt it. So for a little while, or at least for 2026, and look, we never know what will happen in the world, and I'm saying this with confidence because it is my intention. Yeah, I will continue to YouTube and host in person, and the thing that I will add is, starting from like next week, is add accessibility to some of my resources so that you can make with me at home. A few people have said that they've been searching and searching and searching on Etsy and finding it hard to find things like I have, and I think that's how I can be sort of a little interim block. And I have, so for American viewers who initially I said wouldn't be able to access, I fixed that up. So stay tuned. Meaning I'll be able to post to the States. In Canada, how are you going? Are you still on strike with the mail, or was that last year? I remember, was it Diane, you saying that, yeah, you made all these things and then they couldn't go anywhere because of the strike. I am working up a bit of a sweat here, holding a blanket in an unair conditioned room in an Australian summer with silk that is lined on my arms. In no way is it suffering though, because it is just so wonderful to have these things. Now we're not going to make it all the way around, but I'm not going to worry about that. I probably will leave it with a few, 3 petals undone. Just first of all because the threads run out, and if it's 3, that's a good odd number. So let's go down to the back. that was that flower, and now she's brighter and I think even more beautiful. All right, what other embellishing can we do? So let's go to, that's the original embroidery. Let's go to that brighter pink, which is this one. I have to check. I ran out of batteries yesterday. Oh, no, did I run out of battery? No, I ran out of storage, and now it's likely I'm run out of battery, because my husband said, Kate, your videos are longer since you've come home from India. I said, I think that's because I missed everyone, or maybe I've got way more to say. Who knows? Let us, I want to bring some more colour into this little area. So let's do some meandering running stitches, which may indeed turn into seed stitch at some point. But for the moment, I'm sort of just going in and out the points. That flower, you can't see a lot yet. You see what I'm doing? It's not coming out a lot yet, but no stitch is wasted, and it's just building up the texture around. And when I do this sort of work, it just makes me think of the original maker. Look at those tiny, they're little whip stitches. I don't tend to whip these days. Okay, what else is on my list tonight to do? Something I have never done in my life before, and I'm wondering if you've ever done it. I'm going to answer my own question because that's a rhetorical one. I am going to soak some vintage saris in my bathtub. I was watching Missy do that with her quilts, and for that she got from the States, and I thought that's what I need to do. That way they can go in and soak overnight. This wind will dry them quickly, and they are the most beautiful colours. And I have to be very, very humble and say that the beauty, like, of the colours has just been going on for centuries, and I'm just in awe of the work and the design. my books still haven't arrived, which is a little bit sad, but as soon as, and I only say that because I want to share them with you, because it's almost the next best thing as going yourself. Way better than my silly photos on my phone. I want to show you. Okay, now I could keep doing this for ages and ages, but I'll show you what the idea is. You'll have to get the gist of that. So just round and around, and I'll probably now go this way. And it's not hugely crazy. It's just building up that flower by pushing down with the running stitch around it. Okay, I cannot stop thinking about getting this strap to work. So I've got to work out a way, and I may as well do it here with you, because that's an envelope. It doesn't matter, that will get stuck. We need to solve this together, and that's pinned too tightly for me to. All right. There'll be people out there, I know, who'll be saying, Kate, all you have to do is. So I need to get that visible so that it can pull out. Now, do I trim? I'll have to trim it, won't I? Which is a shame. Because it needs to come out over all of that, doesn't it? Let's do this bit down the bottom. And that frees that bit. Then I can stitch that back together. Oh, here's my low battery showing. We should make it. Okay, so that's back together. Then I need to free this up. So let's just, because I can re-stitch it, I realise. That's one thing about my stitching, it does just fall away. Sorry, it's not wonderful viewing, but we are in it together. Okay. So I need that to come out over there. Because I didn't want to cut it, I've made some sort of quite ingenious corner that's adding to the challenge here. I don't know what I've done there, but I can at least get that out now. Alright, so here's to the test. Okay, that would come over there. Right, so that's dresser. Just laughing at myself. Okay, that needle is still sitting there. Big breath. This is to come over there. Okay, it really belongs closer to the edge. Like that. And then I want to wrap what's that going to be too? Because ideally it would cover both sides like a casing. It'll be very fiddly. I mean, what do you think? I've probably got other braids that are thicker or trims. I literally could have bought 50,000 down to show you, but I haven't. So that's the last bit. There'll have to be continued. I mean, even if I worked out if I could glue it and then stitch it. I think I'll just stitch it, because would that not be the perfect way to keep this closed? And then there's that little separate flower to finish it off. I think that's what we're going to do, friends. I've never been so excited about a diary. I showed a friend actually who said, oh, I've got some other journals that I've been using during the year. So I said, go for it. It's just a delightful, glorious feeling to have a fabric book cover. Okay, my last shot. I can't have that black showing. So this is Kate in the Nest. I hope you've found something to enjoy there, and happy stitching and making in the meantime. Until I see you again. Bye.